Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some kind of crazy news going on over here, where now we're seeing people getting threats when it comes to going and giving out at least hopefully their opinion, an honest review of God of War Ragnarok. Now, as I'm sure you guys have seen, a lot of the God of War Ragnarok reviews have been utterly phenomenal. A lot of people are really supportive of the game, a lot of people are really enjoying the game, and there's like a lot of really big improvements in regards to the first God of War, but then as well, a lot of improvements too in terms of just the next gen of gaming, loading times, animations, everything. It's going pretty good. But now we actually had a reviewer who actually gave the game a 6 out of 10, which in all honesty, I always kind of think these kind of more harsher reviews are very good, because if everyone's saying it's good, I almost sometimes want to go and seek out that guy who's like, well, I didn't really like this or this or this, just to kind of give like a full spectrum of how the game is going to be. But sadly, many folks out there, and a lot of PlayStation fans as well, were not as happy seeing a somewhat mediocre review for God of War, and the threats started rolling on in. So we're going to talk about this story and as well talk about just the overall vibe of what happened, because it's somewhat disappointing to see this, because at the end of the day, we want to keep journalism as true as possible, and if every person gives a game a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, then is every game really a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? So let's go talk about it. As well, if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 500 or Xbox giveaway. The Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow. We also do have the Target links and Amazon sign-up links, so check those on out, and let's dive into the video. So, as we mentioned, we've been seeing like a lot of good reviews for God of War Ragnarok, but that doesn't really excuse people critiquing folks for having different, well, basically just different opinions when it comes to this. So the God of War Ragnarok reviewer has now received death threats from after giving a game out a 6 out of 10. So an IGN Korea contributor is calling out for just the end of the harassment because, and I kind of agree, some people take this a little bit too far. Now, I do sometimes think in like online of YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, whatever it may be, yeah, if someone really messes up, you should probably go hold them accountable. But I think this is just taking it a little bit too far, and especially when it comes to something like a review, you want people to be honest and have differing opinions in reviews. Now, this person's always saying God of War is a 1 out of 10, go buy an Xbox. Yeah, I can maybe see some critiques going for it. But at the end of the day, giving a game a 6 out of 10, but having a valid reason for doing so, whether it's your own opinion or maybe you had a bad game experience, that is something that should be notified, and honestly, I kind of respect it as long as it's all done in a valid way. So let's go talk about this. So God of War Ragnarok is already one of the greatest critical successors of the year, despite not even releasing to the public until this coming Wednesday, November 9th. Yet one reviewer who seems to disagree with the mass of other professional critics has offered a much more mediocre score to Santa Monica Studios' next big hit. And he's paying the price for having an unpopular opinion in the form of online harassment too as well, and obviously people taking it just a little bit too far. Bei Sang Hwang, hopefully I said it correctly, wrote the review for IGN Korea as what he described as a guest critic in addition to being an indie game developer and a film director. So I don't want to necessarily say he has like the best rights on judging a game, but someone who's made games before can maybe see a little bit more stuff that maybe a normal consumer won't see, or a film director can also maybe go and discuss and critique up things like the animations, the cinematics, like the introductions to new scenes, like if you walk into a huge mountain, does it look good, does it feel grand, and those are somewhat kind of decent critiques to have in the back of your head. He gave the game a 6 out of 10 in his review, which by the site standard is listed as just okay. So basically his review calls Ragnarok a game that will lean on its predecessor and stops right in front of the door of misery. His review particularly criticized the boring nature of a parent-child relationships, diving the story, and compares the overall feel of Ragnarok to a DLC to 2018's God of War, rather than their own standalone game. Now, just off of those first impressions, I have not played the game itself, but I can definitely understand how someone can maybe feel that. Like, a lot of folks are kind of assuming it's going to be just a lot of the same of 2018's God of War. I'm someone more on the train of, that's good. Like, the original game was good, if this is better, with more features and more of a better story, and like, maybe bigger, grander boss fights and better loading times, I'll probably be pretty happy. But maybe if someone didn't like 2018's God of War, or expected after 4, almost 5 years of more development, that they'd want something better. And that's also, that's fine. I think that's okay for people to highlight and critique that out, because that is a valid critique. Now, you may not agree with it. Like I myself, I'm kind of not fully agreeing with it myself, but that's something we should all respect and be, just be aware of that. That's an actual proper criticism when it comes to all this stuff. So as a result, the writer has taken to his Twitter account to both defend himself and his opinions. In one tweet, which we will not show here due to the content, Basing Hung shared an image of one of the messages he received in which someone had insulted him for his writing skill, his physical appearance, and his nationality before issuing threats to his well in real life, and a humble you so good that you wouldn't even dare to write even more comments like this, and ending with a very kind of crash, as you guys can see and read on screen. Now, I don't think that's good. Now, obviously, people online, like, you could, like, I don't want to blame or generalize an entire group of people because that's just not how it works. You have one crazy person that doesn't represent all of gaming or all of PlayStation or whatever. But when you see that type of stuff from people out there and a lot of people critiquing this story, it is kind of a rough thing to kind of note. And also, it's kind of something we should probably go and shame. I like the idea of people who are honest with their reviews. I may not agree with it, but I will say I do like people that are more critical on games because it does kind of help out consumers have a better idea of what's good, what's bad, what they want to spend their money on, and all of that in between. And I do really like that people are honest with it. Now, once again, I may not agree with it, but a 6 out of 10 is something that might be worth even looking into because that might be like someone maybe might be on the fence and that might be like, well, yeah, I didn't really like 2018 that much, and everyone else liked it, but I was just not my style of game. Maybe I like more of a competitive game or Call of Duty or whatever it might be. And I think that's fine. I think that's totally fine. Just that I didn't check the translation in OpenCritic. It's the job of the editorial department, and people mentioned it was an insult. So I checked, and I just found out it was translated to a more provocative direction, and it's just been revised. I'm sorry to make you see bad expressions. Basically saying the game's core design lacked innovation compared to the prequel, which is also true. I would say it's actually a pretty good valid critique, although I did like the 2018 version. And they also said that the story suffered from lack of creativity, which once again, I think we kind of all know what the story is going to be getting into. We kind of got foreshadowing, we kind of knew what was going on, and we had an entire game to kind of put it. So once again, I'm going to play it and I'm going to enjoy God of War. I enjoyed God of War 2018. But I can understand someone wanting more, or wanting a better story, or more uniqueness, or maybe it's their first time playing the game, they just got off a hype, which they should probably play the first game first, but it is like something that happens to people. That's just how it is. You have to consider that. So basically, they did go and say the game experience was well coordinated, which was good, and wholesome in the last time, also good. Everything in this Ragnarok seemed to be a series of soulless modules aligned, which I've actually kind of felt that a lot as I've been playing Gotham Knights on my Twitch stream, where the game itself is good, but it does kind of seem like it's just formulaic, like you're just doing steps, and some people may not like that. If the developers' aims were to safely deliver experience of a prior success, there would have been other ways to deliver in a better, fresh manner. Sadly, the game was insufficient to be felt as a new representation, rather it felt like a DLC of the previous title instead. Now, once again, I think those are potentially good critics. Now, some people are more accepting, like someone like me who just enjoys games and wants to have a good game experience that's well-rounded and a good story. And I'm okay with that. Like, I will be perfectly okay with the 2018 with slightly better graphics and animations and dialogue and finishing up the story. I'm cool with that. That's my expectations going to the game. So my view might be like an 8, 8.5, 9. It might be higher. But someone, like I said, who might be a brand new user, who just heard the game was cool, they want to check it out, maybe they might not find it as good. Or maybe someone who played a lot of the old prior God of Wars, maybe for them, they as well maybe don't like the idea in changes or the third person view or whatever it might be. So these are I don't think his critiques were that bad to warn people harassing him and judging him and, doing personal appearance. Although that's just online sometimes, not to justify it, Twitter, YouTube and stuff, you get critiques all the time. But kind of stinks. I think this is something we should be celebrating for different opinions rather than anything else. So here's the original Korean full text of the review. For English speakers, I recommend you to read it yourself using Google Translate. They might not be accurate, but it will help reduce misunderstandings. Again, he respects all the opinions and positions. So basically in response, basing how posted in the comment section of a YouTube video from someone else, it's Alex, I've actually never heard of him, in which the host criticizes PlayStation fanboys for their attacks on the journalist. His response reads, in part, I believe that various opinions can develop in this industry, which I kind of agree with. I may continue to write reviews from a different perspective, and I want to tell this to everyone. Just because I write a review with a different perspective doesn't change your gaming experience, which I would also agree on. You gotta want to make sure that your gaming experience as a whole. Like most reviewers across the web, our own Jeffrey David Brooks scored Ragnarok a perfect 10 out of 10, which once again, I'm a little skeptical on that one, but I'll have to play it myself. I could probably see it like an 8.5, 9 out of 10, but a 10 out of 10 is always hard for me to go and give out. So this game is a clear-cut contender for Game of the Year, posting cumulative review scores just slightly under its toughest competitor, Elden Ring. Of the 124 reviews currently calculated by Metacritic, at which Ragnarok is currently holding consistently at a 94 out of 100. Only 11 have scored the game less than 90 out of 100. So I'm excited for God of War. We'll see how this kind of goes, and if you guys do see reviewers, be nice and kind, because guess what? We want these people in the gaming sphere. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway, Xbox giveaway, $500 giveaway. Twitter and Twitch stream down below for bonus entries, and the Amazon and Target links too to check and see down below.